everybody. Armand here from Chi Skills, and today we have another Chi Skills podcast, and we're excited to share some very personal stuff today.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
So Didi, it's sort of, well, it's our story, but it's
also my story.
Probably mostly your story. So this is very interesting for the women out there, but also for the husbands or the
fathers, anyone with girls,
is close to girls,
women around them.
Yes. So
So what I wanted to talk to you about today is a little bit more on my food journey, but especially what I came across when I got a little bit more energy from changing my food. I think we started to explore our food like 8 years ago, 9. And as I've told in many podcasts before, I've always been interested in food, but that's when we really made a difference. And then when I got a little bit more energy, I scanned my life. And the thing that I came across that bothered me for a long time was birth control pill.
Yeah.
I took the pill. I started taking the pill when I was around 17, 18 years old. And I had lived in Thailand for a year, and I had quite some skin problems from living in the tropics.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And with the different food that I ate there, and it just, I was in puberty at the time as well. So I came back and my mom said, okay, I'll take you to a doctor. And when we were at the doctor's, one of the first things they said, okay, we'll give you the birth control pill, which was actually strange as I had skin problems.
You're like,
which is why,
yeah.
And at that time, I was not in a relationship at the time, so but it was something that I would just go along with.
So this doctor obviously saw a big connection there. It's like you have skin problems, and there's something with the birth control that's going to help your skin problems.
It's hormones.
Okay.
Because hormones will help you. Some hormone, especially when you're in puberty, the hormones are all over the place. And
what do you mean? I don't.
Are you too old? You don't remember? Yeah.
They're all over the place.
They're all over the place, and you're kind of... And so that was a remedy that they would prescribe for girls.
Right.
So with the birth control, your skin would clean up. And So it was actually one of the first things they mentioned. And
how was that for you? Did you just do you remember how you experienced that decision? It's like, okay, because of course you're already 17, 18. You're not that young anymore. I mean, because I think some girls start even earlier with the birth control pill, right?
Yeah,
so you knew about the birth control pill, but how did it land for you?
I knew about birth control, and I think I was a bit like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, you're in the next phase or something.
Right. I'm a woman now.
And I had no idea about the side effects.
No. Did the doctor talk about that thing? Like...
No. You would just get it, and it was like, okay. I'm not even sure if I went back to see if my skin problems were better, which were a little bit better, but I also went to see a
dermatologist. Yeah.
And we did she did some things as well from the outside, which were helpful, but not completely.
Okay.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
But it is funny that you do get medicine sometimes for something else, and that they're not gonna look at your further lifestyle to see, and especially as you are in your puberty, and my food was not really well, going out late at night, and my lifestyle was not very healthy at the time, and I would not draw the link.
No.
I could not see the link. And that was the same with this. I could not see the link taking this pill, that it had different side effects. I would not read the bijsluiter.
Yeah. Like the thing that comes with medicine, right? Like all the little letters.
Yeah.
You know, the whole booklet that comes with this sort of stuff.
With all the side effects on it. So I didn't read that. And I just...
it helped, right? It helped a little bit, so you were... Well, okay,
that
fine.
was it.
Yeah.
And I think for my parents, they thought, well, it might be handy. I don't want my daughter to be pregnant when she is like young and don't really want to be pregnant. So...
But from that moment on, there's every day you take this little this little pill. Sorry, that was Dutch. So you take this little pill, and then your whole system sort of gets used to that, and that's sort of it, right?
And the thing is that it gets everything out of your the pill decides when you bleed, and you don't menstruate while taking the pill.
So you're getting an artificial cycle from that. Yeah.
So from the day that you take this pill, you're disconnected to nature. Mm-hmm. I had no idea, and I had no idea. So, and my mom didn't taught me about the moon and the moon cycles, and how as a woman, when you menstruate, or how your cycle is in rhythm with nature, which till that point, I was very regular, I know this is all but I was very regular.
So you had no issues with your cycle?
No issues with my cycle.
You had skin problems, and that's why you got this pill.
Yeah. And
it's a price to pay, isn't it? I mean...
Yeah. And that's weird. The whole... so your whole system kind of gets shaken because of this little pill that you take 3 weeks after another, and then you have 1 week that you don't take it. So just take a quick route. We met, and I was still taking this pill for quite a long time. And while we were having, I was taking the birth control pill from my 17th, 18th. I'm not completely sure. And then we met at 20. I was
5 years later, right? 23. Yeah.
And that was still at a time I was a little bit under the radar. I should say I was not completely myself anymore because of the disconnect.
Yeah, but you still were full of life and energy and glowing, and so you still had a connection with the older self. Yeah. The older younger self. How do you call it? Yeah. The Didi in the past. Yeah. But I mean, over time. And that this is in hindsight, right? Yeah. I mean, because it goes so slowly, and it sort of creeps in everything, and then you got a little bit slow, a little bit slower, a little bit more. I mean, the dynamic was like the margin was so small, right? Your dynamics were like that. Yeah. Before that, it was more like wide range, like that, and so but. I don't think we really noticed that because it was so slow. The whole process was so slow.
It's not something that changes overnight.
No.
It's not.
It's with months, years, and then you have a whole decennium, right? Yeah. And
so I think slowly but surely there is this layer that.
A layer is a good term, I think, right?
Yeah. And looking back at it. When I studied traditional Chinese medicine, I learned what birth control pill does for you. At the time, I already stopped, but it is something that is cooling for your system, and
Okay.
it's damp. It's kind of hard to digest, so
It takes a toll on the spleen
yeah,
and the
yeah,
fire, right?
yeah.
Is yeah.
So it will create a layer, and
Yeah.
for me that was a layer that they said people around me would say you're pretty quiet
Yeah.
and you're slow in talking. You're very clear though, but you're a slow talker, and I think it was a birth control in many ways because the feeling was also cut off.
Yep.
There was not a lot of feeling after a long time taking the pill.
Yeah. So it makes you sort of numb.
Yeah.
Right, and it was also supported, like before we really started looking at the food, it was also supported by a lifestyle that was pretty damp. You know, that like in the morning you would eat a lot of yogurt and things like that, cooling food, cheese, bread, and things like that, which just adds up on the pile of this birth control pill, which is cooling. So you got a little bit slower, cooler, and
I was freezing cold most of the time.
Yeah.
Even in a summer's day, I would be cold.
Yeah, cold feet, and it was And your whole energy was sort of inwards, right?
Inwards, and so and we got this after we wanted to make changes in our food, or I felt this thing like, oh, I cannot live like this any longer. I should make changes, and where to start? Well, for me, the first step was food, because I had a strong connection with food. And
if you want to start somewhere,
that's the
people for you as well. If you want to transform, there's a lot of things that you can do, but you have to go that route. I mean, it's not a sexy subject at all, I know,
but it is.
Yeah.
And then, but in the meantime, it put a spyglass. Is that how you call it? Een vergrootglas.
It magnifies, right?
It magnified on a birth control pill that I was taking it every day, and I got a lot more energy I got a little bit more energy out of the changing the food, and then.
But there was still this layer.
There was still this layer, and I took this pill, and I got a lot of resistance taking it. So in the meantime, we had the conversation.
Yeah, sure. What to do, right?
Yeah, what to do, because I was looking into different ways of birth control, more natural ways, and
and an interesting thing maybe to mention is that I mean there was this time where we sort of were still open to the idea of having children. It's like, well, it can still happen if you want to, but it sort of never came, that idea.
Yeah.
So that at a certain point you're sort of in between. Are you going to continue this, or what changes can we make? Is there something that I can do? If we decide not to have children, I can do like a. But I'm a qigong guy. I'm not going to do that. That's going to affect my whole household.
System.
That's not good. I'm not going to do that. So. You sort of get in between, and there's this discussion lying on the table in between us.
And in the meantime, I was just continuing, because that was the easy thing.
And one thing, you even started a new brand at a certain point, right?
It was not me starting that. It was...
your dealer.
Yeah.
Your dealer.
They gave me, instead of the one that I would normally take, they would give me some with the same ingredients, but a different brand,
like a nameless brand or something. Yeah.
And I don't know why they did it.
But that was a sort of like the big breakthrough for you, I think, right? Because that landed so badly.
And I had headaches all the time. I'm a person that never has headaches. So taking this pill, I got a lot of headaches. Feeling very heavy. I would feel then my body wasn't mine anymore.
But it was great because it if you're talking about a magnifier,
Yeah.
right? Bang, there it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now you knew, it's like, because it was so exaggerated
Yeah.
that you knew, right, you have to do something about it.
There was
I saw it, there was no discussion anymore that
No.
we have to go for an option. But I didn't know what kind of options there would be,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, how can you, I mean, of course we have condoms, things like that, but
there's a lot of options with hormones, and I was totally ready with. I didn't want any hormones in my body anymore. I said I have enough.
no
So,
more hormones, no
no.
more hormones.
And so I was looking into that, and I chose to go for Lady Comp, which is temperature to temperature
Yeah, it
yourself.
measures your cycle and
And thank God for that, and condoms, of course. But to temperature your cycle, the connection I lost when I was like 18 years old taking this pill, it gave me back my connection with my cycle and with myself and the moon, and tremendous
it was a
change.
great release of all this stuff, you know, that was
Yeah.
sticking at you. It was
Yeah.
like crazy. And I got Didi back and more.
Oh,
I
so much
mean,
more. It took
yeah.
me a while. It
Yeah.
took me a while to get back into, and still am transforming all the time. But at that time, it was just every month. It felt like a layer came off.
Yeah.
There was, and it's like 7 years ago that I stopped
Yeah, it was
taking the pill.
15, I think,
Or
right?
something.
So that's 6 years. Yeah.
6 years. It looks like it's 20 years ago. It's a new life started at that point.
Yeah. And it's like you're saying, it's like in the beginning there was immediately a big shift.
Yeah.
But you see it continuing because you're still with your food, your whole household, all the things that you take daily.
Yeah.
It becomes so much clearer. It's like, okay, now the pill's not there anymore. Okay, so what if now it's much, I say much more honest. Is like the effects of the food again.
Oh,
so that
absolutely.
gets magnified as well, right?
Well, what was the biggest shift is feeling, that I could feel. And of course you can feel, but I couldn't feel real deep. And especially with you in your training and your Qigong, I would join. I wouldn't have the energy to stand with you and to do the exercise.
Yeah.
I would just feel dizzy. I felt
No focus.
and what I said before, my body wasn't mine at the time. And what I felt is that there was such a power building in me, stopping with the pill. And then I felt my strength coming back, but also my feeling. I could feel again, and feeling chi. And I would not be able to stand for 20 minutes at that time. And then a couple of years later, when I went to Roni in Portugal for a workshop, and she let me stand there for hours at the end, and I could not have done that with still being my younger me.
You came back from that training. That was like Roni, right? She's she's married to Demo Mitchell, right?
Yeah.
And they had a women's Negung retreat.
Yeah.
And you came back and it was like, what did you guys do? Yeah, we were standing. It's like, how long?
Standing practice.
Well, it's like hours. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, so very cool.
Yeah.
And great that they're also on these topics, right? I mean, they're
and that's. I think I got a lot back. I got my power back. I got my feeling back, and I got my connection back to nature. I got back my femininity.
Yeah.
I felt more women than more woman than I had in the years before.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like you crawled out of a shell or something. It's like you left a shell, and I think you for so long you were sort of sort of experiencing the
mist.
world like through a mist or like a layer and numbness, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but it's sort of a drug, isn't it? I mean, there's stuff in there. It's
and
that just
there's also anti-depression stuff in there.
yeah.
So I think what we started with that doctor that described this to me. You don't really get informed what it does, and then when you read back, you think, "Oh my God, it's all." I could have read that before. I mean, I could have known had I really got into it, but I was just.
Well, you don't know, but it's so hard
young.
because you grow up. Most people, grow up with people who are not sensitive. I mean, they also have learned to drop that. They are not sensitive anymore, or they're not sensitive at all, or and they're like, no, there's this stuff in it, and that's good for you, and it's going to help your skin. Yeah, but I'm not me anymore, right? Yeah, but you don't have any skin problems anymore. Yeah, but I'm not me anymore. I don't feel anymore. Huh? You don't have to feel. You just have to work from 9 to 5, get a mortgage, and just blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I mean, come on, people.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, if you're a woman, or you're married to a woman, or you know someone in your direct neighborhood. They should know this, because if you're training qigong as a woman and taking the birth control pill or any form of hormones,
it has a big impact. It has such a big impact, and I think it impacted us as well, because me transforming into who I am today and still working on it. I mean,
you're just so powerful, right? And
yeah.
then this power just radiates into everything we're doing. That's why we're talking into this microphone now, right? I mean, we wouldn't be doing that without that decision, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that there's something higher in you is so alive that was like, no, something's got to change. And sometimes it's hard to see where it starts, right? Was it the food? Was it the hormone? Because you were talking about it for a longer time, but it was sort of, it took a while for that. You needed some more clarity before you were ready for that, I think. And that's where the food helped so much.
Yeah.
And of course, the traditional Chinese medicine helped a lot, because they look at that stuff from a totally different viewpoint. It's like, oh, now I understand why there's so much damp and coolness and numbness, and you can explain it in a different way, right?
Yeah.
So, and that book that's lying there, you had a really good book. Maybe you can show that to the people
who are watching it, but I will read the title.
Is this a sort of a Bible? This is a sort of a Bible.
And this was
it's thick
later
enough.
on my journey. Because if you look at it, I got the book from Roel Janssen from 5 Element Food. I changed my food, and then I changed my. I stopped birth control pill, and after stopping, I got in this stream of changes.
Yep.
I went back to school. I changed my hours from my
your job.
Job, so I worked there only for 27 hours a week.
You started working part-time.
Part-time. And first studied food, herbs, and it completely changed my life. And my teacher, when I studied food, Jutta, she gave me, or she every week or every time we went to school, she would give me some titles, some new titles.
Yep.
And this was one of the first
so this
titles.
Is Christiana Northrup, right?
Christiana Northrup, and it's Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom.
It's a bestseller. It says here's New York Times bestseller, and this woman, she normally people just go to the chapter that they find interesting. Well, I got this book and it immediately clicked, and I was just like, okay, I need to read this from cover to cover. And it's thick, right?
It's really thick. Yep. But it
changed you completely.
It changed our lives completely.
Yeah.
With all the different things that you can how you can empower yourself.
Absolutely, and
As a
her
woman.
daughter, Kate Northrup,
Yeah.
she's an inspiration as well, right?
Yeah.
With her Origin network and things like that.
Yeah.
And some of you might have heard of her.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a women's network, but I always watch with. I'm always watching with Dee when she's looking at some of these master classes on there. And
And they're also working with the moon cycle and empowering women to look at your menstrual cycle as your power tool, which it really is. If you can look at it this way and you can read into it, then it tells you a lot about your body and how it's functioning. And instead of taking medicine to repair things or to actually not to repair, a medicine is not it's not really to repair but to suppress what's there.
Yeah, not going to the where it's starting, right? It's more
exactly.
like
So
you have to strip that away.
To see what's there and then work with your disbalances, and that's really what it taught me.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like strip all your medicine
No,
away.
no,
Right? No. We're talking
about
these hormones connected to the pill.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what this
and
is all about.
And that's also a process that I just decided from one day at another that I would not take it anymore.
Yeah. And that was a great day.
And that was a great day. It was just after we went to China, and it was kind of a foreseeing that we went to China, and from that moment I stopped and went into all this traditional Chinese medicine stuff, which is funny looking back at it. Yeah.
And I think the year before, in 2014, I think almost I think a year before we stopped eating meat.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure there was a lot of hormones in there as well.
Yeah.
So it's this long shift we're in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but it's so steady now, and you're so.
And there's a before and there's an after.
Yeah.
So that's my very personal story, and I hope other people can be inspired by it. So,
and like everything we're talking about, it's all in the experience, right?
Yeah.
So you have to feel for yourself, right?
Where is your energy going? Where is your
leaking? Where is it leaking?
And if you find it, if you tune into, even when you cannot feel very well, like I could not feel that well, but I had this big resistance. At a certain point, I had this big resistance against it.
Yeah. And it's not only leaking, I think it's also you're suppressing it, right? And that's what you were feeling, I think, right? It's like you feel like this, but inside there's like this.
There was this fire who wanted to burn and come out and wanted to explore and experience.
Do podcasts.
Yeah.
Start a channel.
Yeah. I couldn't see that at the time, but you're right. I could see there were bigger things for me.
And that's one of the great things, because we don't know where this is going, and we don't know what we're doing in 10 years.
Yeah.
Because of that decision, right? So.
But it's scanning your life and every time looking at yourself. Where am I at this moment?
Yeah.
And where can I make a change?
What am I taking every day, putting into my system, and closely examining that, right?
Yeah.
And also, if you want to know if it works for you, that's with food, that's with this, you have to just try it. You have to make, you have to experiment and make sure that you allow enough time
to see if it works.
And this is a pretty big one, because it of course, if you have a partner, you have to have a conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
And that can be hard for some people as well.
Yeah. So
awesome.
That's great, isn't it?
It's awesome. I love this stuff. Because these are the big changes. These are the This is the gold.
Absolutely. Okay, that was it for today.
Yeah. Hope you find this of interest.
And like and subscribe.
Be safe, be well, and speak soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.